Hello everyone, it's Easter, or is it? Last night I was reading the book of John, and there are some parts of the crucifixion story that are now, I think, more clear to me, but then there are also some parts that are bringing up a bit more questions. First of all, we all like to believe that the crucifixion story takes place on a Friday to a Sunday, with Jesus being crucified on Friday and then rising again on Sunday. But last night I was reading, and next to the part where it says Sunday morning, there's a little asterisk for a footnote. And the footnote says that in the Greek translation, this part is phrased as the first day of the week. Now, many places around the world consider Sunday to be the first day of the week. So it makes sense that lots of people are celebrating this Easter on a Sunday. But there are other places in the world that celebrate on Monday. For example, I had a friend in the Czech Republic, and I asked her, why is it that in Czech Republic you celebrate Easter on Monday instead of on Sunday? Well, also in the Czech Republic, they consider the first day of the week to be Monday. So following the translation, I suppose, from Greek, it would make sense that they are celebrating the resurrection of Jesus on Monday if that is their first day of the week. However, she explained to me that, well, look, if Jesus died on Friday and then rose again on Sunday, that's only 2 days. But it's written that Jesus rose again on the third day. He died on Friday, and then you would have Saturday and Sunday and Monday, which would make it the third day. So I guess it depends how you are counting it. So to me, that kind of clears up things a little bit in that maybe it was actually Monday, not a Sunday. But we all are using Sunday because many places use Sunday as the first day of the week. There's a little bit of an extra story in this where some people say that, the Catholics, they go to church on Sunday, they count Sunday as the first day of the week, they go there, they ask their forgiveness for the sins that they are planning to commit during the week, while other traditions believe that Monday is the first day of the week. So then on Sunday, you would go to church and ask forgiveness for the sins that you've committed in the week already, instead of pre-asking for forgiveness for sins that you're planning to commit anyways. Now, I know that Czech Republic is also considered to be one of the most secular and non-religious countries in Europe. So using them as an example for when they celebrate Easter maybe is not the best example. But my friend I was talking to, she is Catholic, so her opinions and her thoughts, I feel, are very relevant. Then I also noticed that it was mentioned Jesus and the disciples were preparing a feast for the Passover. It's mentioned in Matthew 26:17, on the first day of the festival of the unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to prepare the Passover meal for you?" So I looked up when Passover starts because I feel that it is relevant to the timing of the celebration of Easter. And this year, Passover starts on the 22nd of April. So I'm a little bit confused why there is such a gap here. Are we really celebrating Easter on the correct day? And that led me to think about the Orthodox Church, because the Orthodox Church, they also celebrate Easter at a different time than the Catholic Church, for example. And so I looked up when they celebrate Easter this year, and they will celebrate Easter on the 5th of May in 2024. So that also doesn't really fit with the alignment of the time of Passover. And so you might think, well, if both churches follow the same, Christian background, why are they celebrating things at different times? And that has to do with the calendars. Back in the day, Julius Caesar decided he wanted to change the calendar to better fit with the way that the earth was rotating, the stars and the moon and all that stuff. So he switched into a solar calendar called the Julian calendar. Well, some years later, Pope Gregory the Eighth and his astrologists, they discovered that, well, the Julian calendar is off by about 11 minutes. So you have to kind of make up these different days every so often, or you will end up out of alignment with the seasons. So they decided to create the Gregorian calendar. And at that time, a lot of the churches of Italy and Spain and France, they all switched over to the Gregorian calendar and then started using those dates to celebrate Easter. While many of the others decided to hold on to the original Julian calendar and celebrate Easter along those days. And so that's why there is a little bit of difference there in terms of why those two groups celebrate Easter on different days. But still, it doesn't align with the Passover time, so I had to look a little bit further. For those that don't know, Passover is the Jewish celebration of when the Jewish people were led out of Egypt by Moses. And so in the biblical text, it states that this is a celebration that should take place in the springtime. And so with this, it kind of tied everything together with the spring equinox. But because the Hebrew calendar is a lunar calendar instead of a solar calendar, it has 12 months with about 29 to 30 days in each month. And this leads to even more problems with, I guess, losing time, you would say, in terms of dates and things like that. So this lack of dates and times and the alignment with the season creates an issue where every so often they have to bring in an entire leap month. And so this sometimes means that Passover will occur a whole month almost after Easter, after the spring equinox. And then I started to wonder, well, what on earth does Easter have anything to do with the spring equinox? Why are we so concerned with lining everything up with this time of the year? Other sources will say that the tie between Easter and the spring equinox has to do with a time of renewal and rebirth, at least in the northern hemisphere. So that kind of links up with the story of the resurrection. Jesus died, he rose again, so there's new life, there's rebirth, especially for those who believe and follow the Christian faith, that when you believe in God or when you believe in Jesus, you are reborn again and you become essentially a new person. So it all kind of fits in with the spring and the renewal and the return of the warmth and the light, and I guess even the new birth of plants and animals. But there are some things that still don't really fit. For example, the Easter bunny, Easter eggs, and those infamous Czech Easter sticks. What do they have to do with it? I'm not very sure. Even the name Easter is derived from a pre-Christian goddess in England. Her name was Esther, or how you pronounce it. And so those all kind of tie in together with like this little bit of strange paganism starting to come in. And like, what are the purpose of those things? Now, other languages like Italian, they have Pasqua, which is more similar to Passover, I guess, when you translate it. Then in Czech, you have Velikonoce, which I don't know really how that fits into the puzzle, so we're gonna leave that out of it. But overall, it had me wondering if Easter, as we know it now, is simply another pagan holiday dressed up as Christianity in the same way that we do with Christmas. I wonder if the Orthodox calendar fits a bit more with the original timeline. I wonder if, like, why are people so obsessed with counting the days and measuring how we do things, changing of calendars, lunar calendars, leap years. Where does it all come from? And I wonder, does any of it even matter at all? Obviously not, if you choose not to believe the story of the birth of Jesus and the resurrection of Jesus, then maybe it doesn't matter at all. But I think for those who do, it should be something that we examine a little bit more. In the description box below, I've included some verses that are interesting to think about when it comes to celebrations and holidays. So if you're interested, take a look at those and maybe have a little thought about that. Obviously, if that is not something that's interesting to you, that is perfectly okay too. I know for me personally, whenever there are holidays and celebrations and traditions, I always am mindful of Romans 12:2, where it says, "Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect." In other words, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So these are the things that I think about whenever there's a holiday and whenever we are caught up in the consumerism or the traditions aspect. I think about, what are the traditions that we are holding on to? Why do we do them? And are they still serving us? Anyway, that's just some food for thought. If you are interested in any of that, go feel free to dig into some of those verses and dive around and explore a little bit. And if not, then feel free to just pass right by this. All right, everyone, have a great day wherever you are in the world, and until next time, bye. Listen to those little witches. Whew, this time change is killing me. I'm awake when I shouldn't be awake. I'm not tired when I should be tired. It's like 1 o'clock and I'm not even hungry for lunch yet. Can't wait for us to be done with this changing of time, daylight savings time. They keep telling us we're gonna stop, but I don't know if we ever will. Maybe it's like the US government forgiving student loans, just something they say, but it's never really gonna happen.